p.m. on Monday, November 20th, 2023. Let's see. Got some consent agenda items. We have minutes from the November 6th, 2023 school board meeting, some general fund vouchers and purchasing card transactions. We would request approval of general fund vouchers 180701 through 180854 and 292553 through 292590, and purchasing card transactions dated 9/21/23 through 10/20/23. There are also some professional staffing recommendations, some co-curricular staffing recommendations that are do not need a vote. So I would look for a motion to approve the consent agenda items as presented.
I can do that.
Thank you, Bruce. Do I have a second?
I can second.
Thank you. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. I do not believe we have any public comments for this evening. Then we can move on to the McFarland High School student report. Hello.
There's Joey.
Joey.
Joey. Awesome. All right. Let's get the slide go up here. Wonderful. Okie dokie. So awesome. Some highlights. Legally Blonde, I think, was a weekend or two ago. But the cast did an amazing job in their performances over the weekend of November 10th through the 12th. Just a big congratulations to all the cast and the crew for their hard work to put on this outstanding musical. Also this past weekend, or maybe it was 2 weekends ago, can't tell. November 12th through the 13th, DECA attended a emerging leaders conference at the Kalahari with 900 other Wisconsin DECA members. So awesome, super awesome. This past week in Verona, our MHS Honors Band, as a part of the Badger Conference Honors Band program, performed at Verona Area High School. So congratulations to all of the students who participated and represented McFarland over at Verona. Reality Zone also took place last week, on November 16th. So half of the class of 2025, half of our juniors were able to participate in that wonderful event in SLC. So a big thank you to all the volunteers for helping out with that, and to Miss Penny Thompson, the Career Technical Education Coordinator, for coordinating the entire event. It's awesome. Also last week on Friday, our BSU members played a fun game of hide and seek to build some team bonding. So they ate pizza and played hide and seek tag on the first floor of the school. BSU is a club at MHS dedicated to uplifting the voices of students of color, specifically Black students at MHS. So it's awesome. Also today, November 20th, Mark Charles of the Navajo Nation, also called the DNA, spoke to Mr. Ward's Indigenous Studies classes about the doctrine of discovery and engaging to rethink how to reconcile and heal with Indigenous peoples. So that was super awesome. He's a renowned activist, author of the book Unsettling Truths. Really cool guy. Also new is our art department runs a very successful Instagram page where they highlight different students' work. So if you want to go ahead and follow them, they are highlighting a bunch of awesome students and their amazing artwork. MADMUN, the Madison Area Model United Nations Conference, also took place this weekend at Middleton High School. 6 students from our McFarland Model United Nations chaired and simmed committees, having put in months of preparation beforehand. Brennan won an honorable mention in his second ever committee representing Nepal in the environment program. So amazing day for everyone. Congratulations to everyone who participated. Our high school has also created its very own robotics club this year. So Mr. Carney is the new advisor for that, and they recently had their first meeting. If you want to stay updated on everything McFarland Robotics is up to, you can follow them on Instagram. So sports updates. So awesome week from McFarland girls basketball. Last Friday, they scored 61 points in the game against Edgewood and won their first ever game of the season. And then they also hosted their first ever annual Blue and White Night, emceed by Mr. Jacobson, where they hosted a youth dunk contest, raffles, and more. So it was an awesome event. Great. And some Connect updates. So on November 16th, McFarland High School's multipurpose room hosted the first ever annual equity picnic. There were over 70 students from McFarland High School and IMMS who attended, who throughout the day listened to a motivational speech from Mr. T, split up into different topic and goal-oriented breakout groups, and came together to address areas for growth in the McFarland School District. That was a really awesome event. There's a picture over there of all the students who came. Some more updates. MHS Connect has also been updating and engaging the MHS student body to vote for new bell announcements and from different members of the MHS staff. Congratulations most recently to Mr. Walsh of the Science Department for winning this week's, 2 weeks rounds nomination. We also have our staff shout outs for the week, which included Emma Fletcher from the Science Department and Brian Hod from Tech Ed. Oh, congratulations to them. Awesome. Okie dokie.
Anybody have any comments or questions for Joey? You all right up?
Cute guess.
Oh, yes.
You good? All right. Oh, okay. There we go.
Yes.
Oh, no, it's not a beagle, is it?
Yes, he is a beagleier.
Oh, I love
Oh
beagles.
my gosh.
Yes, he's clingy.
Cute.
Anybody got any questions, comments?
Just a couple of comments.
Sure.
Craig, first of all, Legally Blonde, I want to thank the district and probably the theater department for opening up the dress rehearsal night to our senior citizens here in town. It's great that it has been reactivated. It's been a while since seniors were invited to participate in that free event, and the performance was fabulous. Joy, what's the next step in the equity, following the equity picnic? So what's going to happen next with that?
Yeah. So essentially, every different like breakout group, there were a bunch of kind of topic oriented breakout groups, like how to become involved, how to be a student leader, how to understand and engage an audience, and then subsequent breakout groups where just students from a bunch of different social activist clubs kind of came together and came up with some action steps that can be put into place. So leaders from all of the social justice clubs will be taking those back, I believe, and kind of discussing next steps and what to do with those. I think a lot of it will involve meeting with our administration, kind of connecting with the social justice advisors to put together some of the events that we wanted to plan or we're going to put in effort to plan coming away from that day. Yes, so it was awesome. It was awesome. I think there are some good goals that the social justice clubs of MHS have for the school district in the coming years.
Okay, thanks.
Mhm.
Anyone else? Well, if that's the case, then have yourself a wonderful fall break here coming up. Do you have to come to school tomorrow?
I do indeed.
Oh,
I do indeed.
that's unfortunate. 2 whole days this week. Have a great Thanksgiving and wish you all well.
Thanks.
Absolutely. You all too.
Thanks for what you do.
Yep. Bye, Joey.
Thanks, Joey.
Informational items. Stride Fall Summit. Mr. Mooney, the floor is yours.
Yeah, thanks for postponing this a couple weeks. A couple weeks ago through the WEVA school, they're part of the Stride Corporation here in the United States, and they have an annual summit. In this year's summit, it was called Partnerships in Progress. And the first thing that sort of stuck out of my mind was they talked about the parent guidance series in response to parent concerns about the students' health and well-being. So what they've developed are like 5 or 7 video series for parents that they can have access to this. Heavy emphasis on the mental health of students. So that's one thing. Stride has also developed an on-demand professional development that can be customized to a particular school or particular staff members. So there's a whole library of things that staff can tap into. Again, as I reported out last year, there's a K-12 student activities opportunities that include for all students, K through 12, national competitions such as robotics, photography, game design, art, and cook-offs. They had some of their art designs at the conference, and again, they were phenomenal. It's amazing what students in a virtual setting can do as far as performance outside of a brick and mortar school. There's K-12 student contests and challenges using Minecraft, Legos, writing, photography, fitness challenges, and contests. And think of it, it's all virtual, and yet they can accomplish all that. Yes.
I just said, wow, sorry.
Okay.
Just commentary, no worries.
Actively
Again,
listening.
Again, a lot of virtual field trips that are customized to the developmental levels of each of the students. There's a National K-12 zone that's new. It has been created to help students with their socialization with other peers. They can chat, study, hang out with peers across the nation virtually. I'm going to talk a little about that a little later. The special ed programming, again, they talked about special education at the K-12 powered schools and how they address IEPs, how they teach students of all abilities over line, and the impact of the special ed programs at the K-12 level. Again, we all know that no one educational model will fit the needs of all kids. And again, we have our district, excellent programming options for kids. K-12 and through EVA, they have their uniquenesses also. What's really interesting is this, is that starting next fall, maybe it was this fall, they guarantee parents that by the end of third grade, that their students will be reading at third grade reading level. If not, virtual tutoring and or in-person tutoring will be warranted and provided. That's a huge guarantee. All students will graduate is another guarantee. So if students are in their senior year and they're having trouble, Stride will implement a lot of different interventions and other support systems to make sure that those students do graduate. They've created a K-12 zone. It's a social club that I just talked about. And for security reasons, they create some type of white screen so it cannot be hacked into. Likewise, there's a K-12 chat room for study groups, again, secured by a white screen. There's a learning hub that they've created, and the learning hub is all-inclusive. It's a hub of resources where teachers and other staff can go to for standards, the curriculum, the context, videos, all located in one place at their fingertips. Again, the purpose is to secure all the needed resources in an easy fashion. And probably the most significant takeaway for me after attending the conference again this year was the collaboration with other partners and board members. Specifically, the passion for supporting student success, vision for what the future holds for virtual teaching and virtual learning, enthusiasm for colleagues and families they serve, ongoing celebrations, frequent celebrations of student success with the focus, and realizing that K-12 can and will do better in their student achievement, graduation rates, further analyzing student challenges and providing ongoing student opportunities. So again, just like in the McFarland School District, WEVA and through Stride is doing all they can do to take the students and their institution up to the next level. And that concludes my report for Stride in their conference. The other conference I attended was the Fall Legislative Conference up at Green Lake. Again, the takeaways are this. The featured speaker was State Representative Joel Kitchens, a Republican from Sturgeon Bay. What made him a really unique choice to be the guest speaker is that, first of all, he's a former school board member. He knows what school boards experience, the challenges that they encounter. He's also the chairman of the Assembly Committee on Education. So again, he is right in the midst of it. Uh, as a chairman of that committee, he demonstrated, he clearly articulated a realistic view of how schools work and how they can work. Lastly, he meets with all the superintendents in his district once a year. And yeah, he has a good pulse on what's happening in each of his school districts. One of the sessions I attended was on Act 20, and Melissa talked about that last time. It's a new reading initiative for K-12. And again, what the purpose is to make sure that our students are gaining the skills and aptitudes in learning to read throughout their educational career. He also brought up some things that are on the docket for the state legislature. There's a bill that is being drafted right now to allow teachers, retired teachers and others to work an additional 5 years following, I think, their retirement. Another one is to address the teacher shortage by creating a teacher pipeline to earn teacher certification in 2 to 3 years. It's sort of to grow your own. And I think we're familiar with what we're trying to do here in McFarland. What was interesting was that when teacher assistants get on that path for teacher certification, they only can teach in their own school district. Yeah, they cannot get their certification all of a sudden go to another district with that. They also want to have a common school start date with endorsed by the DPI. And again, the school start date now is after Labor Day typically, and it's driven by the tourism industry as we know of it. The other thing that's coming up is in the reimbursement rate for special education. The public and voucher schools receive a higher rate of reimbursement than do students in the public schools. So there's a huge inequity piece with that. And also they'll be talking about transgender issues in sports. And again, I think we're all aware that the Supreme Court will establish the future direction of that. Another session was how demographics and the pandemic affects Wisconsin schools. And it was interesting. Again, the aging population from 220 to 222 increased by 32%, while the youth population from the same year span, 210 to 220, decreased by 4%. And births only increased between 2007 and 2022 by 15%. But right now, there's more deaths in our state of Wisconsin than there are live births. Another session was that Charles Franklin from the Marquette University Law Poll presented. Again, we all know that less than 30% of the public have kids in the public schools. This is interesting. 60% of the Wisconsin residents are either satisfied or very satisfied with public schools. But over time now, there's more satisfied than very satisfied, even though it's still 60%. 89% of the respondents are either somewhat concerned or very concerned about public schools. I think that go either way. 38% of the parents or state legislators should think that the curriculum should be written by them, not by teachers. 54% of the population favor vouchers for all students, particularly those that have enrolled their kids in voucher schools. But only 28% of those same supporters favor vouchers if it results in increasing state aid to the public schools to help support that. So another thing. Another session was effective school boards. Again, Michael Ford from UW Oshkosh. The challenges facing school boards today are the partisanship versus politics. Why this is happening? There's specific and more broader reasons. And he indicated why school boards get sick. And I think right now, we're fortunate not to experience a sick school board, but this is what he says causes that. Role confusion, relationship conflict, process conflict, groupthink, and lack of trust. And I think we probably know of many school districts that fall under that category of a sick board.
Rather pessimistic view.
Yes, absolutely.
And when you say sick school board, do you mean like dysfunctional,
Dysfunction.
pretty much?
Yep.
Yep, okay.
And again, Ford just talks about school boards being sick, not well.
Yep.
And I think that concludes my report from those two conferences that I was able to attend.
Thanks very much, Tom.
Yep.
Thank you.
Anybody have any questions or comments? If not, thank you. I was going to ask about, how much time they spent talking about vouchers, but I think you kind of touched on that. I know that's a big initiative.
It is. So, but I thought the whole funding level of support depended on the type of funding that would impact their taxes.
Of course. Okay, moving on then, we have our district administrator's report. Mr. Tarnitzer, take it away.
All right, a lot to share with you here today. One of the things I wanted to update you about, I think I muted myself. I'm good. Maybe.
What's going on?
Somehow down in Florida
I'm
again.
off. There, I'm good. But, oh, sorry, I'm still in the place. No, I'm not. All right, thank you.
Here we go.
Lots to share. Oh my goodness, I have so much to share with you. So, Joey, as is tradition, I have crossed out 4 items. I was going to share with recognitions, but certainly great things going on here in the high school and in the district. Wanted to give a special shout out to our administrative team, our directors, and our building administrators for an amazing staff development. We have kind of 2 sort of back-to-back, the way the calendar falls with the end of the quarter and the traditional October PD days. A lot of literacy-focused things, equity-focused things. We had Natural Circles of Support seminar in the afternoon on the 10th, and just a really great day of learning. And of course, it's conference season 2, so some recovery from that. Calendar committee met. We had planned to have 2 meetings before bringing a calendar to you, but we were so efficient that we think it's only going to be 1 meeting. So we should have a calendar for you at the next meeting on the 4th. One of the things that I will be doing is sharing a document with staff for any questions, comments. I will get that out to them early next week, and then that gives a little time before the board meeting. But the committee was very representative of all buildings and different levels of experience and different life situations. So very excited about that. There's not a perfect calendar. As Mr. Mooney shared, we are tied to a September 1st start date, which is a ridiculous law that should be changed. I don't think Tom said that part, but
How
that
do
was
you
my
really feel?
editorial. The tourism industry, that was a reason for a long time ago that no longer exists. Okay, Professional and Support Staff Employees Relations Committee, many of you were there. Had a great meeting. We're trying to do more joint things together. Just so appreciative of the staff that give up their time. Leadership talked about paid time off and handbook changes and many other topics. Very fruitful conversation, and we will meet throughout the year. Excited about that. Also, our partnership with the village continues to be stronger. We had an exciting joint meeting where we discussed many things. For example, we talked about our diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging position, and they have a strategist position they're hiring for. Talked about the joint project at Wabisa. The softball bathrooms are hopefully going to be done this spring. The inclusive playground hopefully be ready for this fall, and the partnership with the village on that. It's really exciting because there's many committees that are part of that, both on the village side, the school side, working together, including staff in that process. Also, we talked about just some district updates, some of which you'll hear tonight, talking about a potential referendum for April 2nd, our enrollment, which you'll hear tonight. They shared their plans for the municipal center and doing some remodeling there, adding a second story, and to create a community type area. The solar farm project, joint project with the village, is on track for the fall of 2025. And we talked a little bit about the Dane County Sustainability Campus and landfill development at Yahara Hills. Through a pretty lengthy process, the village has now gotten a seat at the table for the development of the agreement. However, we have been represented extremely well, and I thank Jeff Mahoney for his representation there, being the only visitor to join the group from anywhere, and they have welcomed him in and asked him questions, and he's provided valuable feedback to them about things they didn't know, traffic patterns, and how this could impact us in the school district. While we don't have a voting role in this process, they seemed very appreciative of the insights he was able to provide. I also wanted to give really special recognition to our building administrators for their response to the staff, or to the family survey feedback that we received last March. Reminder, I shared those results with you subsequent to that meeting, and I have some updates that I think really demonstrate their effort in that regard. There were 4 main areas of growth that came out of that survey. One was preventing and addressing bullying. Another was just about improving the healthy culture in the buildings, providing more opportunities to give feedback to the school and teachers, so parents able to be more engaged in a feedback loop, and communication, streamlining communication. So with bullying, of course, you know about that we've been implementing a behavior response plan. We're also working through a updated bullying prevention and intervention plan with changes already being made. I really appreciate Lauren Arango and Angie Brunette and the associate principals for their leadership there. The consistency in how we address situations is something that is long overdue, and families are going to feel that difference. Kids should feel that difference. In issues of culture, our consensus as we reviewed the results was that those are really related to bullying and behavior. That's what's the primary impact of our culture. So we feel like those other efforts will impact the culture. In terms of feedback, we've provided some opportunities earlier this year. We have the Family Equity Council that's active and running. Of course, as you know, we have excellent parent participation on the Human Growth and Development Committee. We do have other plans. Family nights are being planned.
Have they had their second meeting yet?
Yes. They actually have their 3rd next week.
Okay, all right, great.
Yep. And just opportunities for forums, surveys, drop-ins. I know the middle school has taken some leadership in some of these, like a Zoom opportunity. In terms of communication, as you know, we've really been trying to streamline and provide consistency. And the building principals and administrative assistants have taken the lead on that, the weekly s'mores that they're sending out. That consistency has made a difference. How to use the learning management systems. Seesaw is new to Wabisa, so there's a lot of collaboration at K-5 about using Seesaw. And now the middle and high school have an upcoming opportunity for collaboration on Canvas, which is theirs, providing more consistency from teacher to teacher so parents know what to expect. So a lot of excitement there, so really shout out to our administrators for that. I'm going to share some photos with you, which will capture some additional recognitions. you with the Google Meet here.
Oh,
So this family book club, I feel like this has been undersold. I just think it's so great. They read Charlotte Webb together, and then were able to come to a movie screening there in our wonderful Performing Arts Center. So I just thought that was really a very clever and well-executed idea. That's a good example of family and community engagement. The food pantry, I don't know what the food pantry would do without our students and families, what donations they make. Here's some first graders there, learning about the food pantry, delivering the food. You'll see third grade donations here from the food pantry. Climbing wall and twister challenge. I don't exactly understand what the twister challenge was personally, but you can see that in the excitement. There's something, right? There's something on
anti-gravity, I guess.
There's definitely
Oh, they had to
twisting.
grab the different colors, very, like
Oh, like
spin the
Twister.
wheel and grab the
Right.
color.
Like Twister.
Well, now
Okay.
that seems obvious. Thank you.
That
Angie,
kid
for
in
that.
the horizontal child is,
strong.
that's
Yeah.
phenomenal.
Our very own Incredible Hulk, Brett
Oh.
Jondal, at the superhero assembly. This picture is just priceless. I have not given him much grief about it yet, but do have plans to.
Good.
Just a great shot of him there, and I appreciate his willingness to be playful with the students. They'll always remember that. Of course, our mystery readers, you can see 3 of our fine board members right there. They were not the only mystery readers, but it's fun to highlight them. That's actually been 2 sets now of mystery readers. The most recent was about safety. And so I was able to be there last week reading about safety. But I know it means a lot to the students, and they really remember you when you see them. You read to my class, so good stuff.
Yeah, it turned out I had one of Ginger's daughters in my class.
You
That's
never
funny.
know. The first and second grade classes, they have a buddy system, so they get to go and visit their younger buddies. What a great way to help recognize the second graders as leaders. You can see the excitement there. And of course, a lot of Veterans Day activities, assemblies throughout the district. The Wabisa one is the one that is the most legendary, infamous, has a really neat premise in that often it's family members of our students that have served that come and we're engaged in that. I know I shared some feedback from that in the McFarland minutes with you, but really special assembly if you can ever attend, and it means a lot to everyone that's involved. One of the things that's really neat is how the students escort the veterans up to the front and acknowledge them. Very special thing. So thank you for Wabisa for continuing that. Reading visit by their very own principal, Mr. Shevchek, doing that. You see the fire burning there on the smart board.
So cozy.
They just really love it when somebody different comes and reads to them. Look at this middle school, well, 5th to 7th grade orchestra field trip. So our youngest orchestra students got to go hear the Madison Symphony Orchestra. So a little inspiration for them to see that, and you know how sweet it is, the beautiful facility.
And I think yesterday we had the Wisconsin Youth Symphony Orchestra here.
Yep. in
And
our
there was
Performing Arts
not
Center.
a parking space
Really?
anywhere, even across the street. Oh, there was a swimming.
And a
I didn't
swimming,
realize
right?
that.
Big swim meet going on, yeah.
Oh, my bad.
Well, double,
That was
right?
double, yep.
Yep.
No, that was certainly crowded.
There was no
No.
parking.
No, there was not.
No, that's good. I always think about, the impact to the community when you have 2 big events that bring people from outside the community in. I'm sure that our local restaurants appreciate that. A little shout out to our middle school custodians. This was on a professional development day. I just thought it was all fun. It's rare you see everybody all together. But just really appreciate the work that they do. And this was on social media and received a lot of positive responses. Really, really fortunate.
We've always had great custodial staff
Right?
and buildings. I mean, incredible.
Yeah. Speaking of community engagement, I haven't checked this out in person, but at the ED Lock library, there is a MHS Multicultural Club has some items there on display, so I haven't had a chance to check that out, but a neat connection with the community. Girls swimming, of course, advanced to state. We've mentioned that
There they
before,
are.
but I don't know if we showed the picture. Maybe they did last time, but always good to see again. Very exciting. One of the things you'll notice too, that reminds me, we put in the newsletters, you will see, I don't think you've seen yet, just how we decide when we send fan buses to state events. So I encourage you to look that over and let me know the feedback. We haven't gotten a ton of questions, but we should have. So we're trying to be a little more proactive as we've had two opportunities in the last couple of years. And our very own Brittany Brazel took some students to the 365 Leadership Summit, and from what I heard, it was really exciting. Had a group, a student opportunities for students to have sessions, and she got to go to adult sessions, and they came together. Heard great things about it, and the students just love her. Not surprising. So do the adults. Optimist Student of the Month, of course, sponsored by the McFarland Optimist, Cassidy Miller, very deserving. One of the things that is really special about Cassidy is her work with students with special needs. And that's really something that has been special about her the whole time I've known her. It was National Substitute Educators Day last week. Every day is, but this was a special day for them and wanted to honor them. We are so grateful. One of the things I always want to hype, and this year seems to be particularly high number of our retired teachers serving as substitute educators. So, in fact, I saw somebody leave the middle school today that I haven't seen in a really long time, Melissa Shanks. So that was really exciting. Yeah, so that concludes that. Things coming up right now is an orchestra concert right here at the high school. We also have fall break coming up. That Wednesday is a day people love. You'll see that coming, having that off. You see that in the schedule proposed calendar for next year. We have a work session on the 30th. December 3rd is the International Day for Persons with Disabilities, an important day there. And then on the 4th, we'll have another board meeting. But reminder, we are having a prospective board information session at 6 o'clock. And then we're going to have a closed session at 6:45 and a regular board meeting. That concludes my lengthy report.
Thank you very much. Anybody have any comments or questions? Tom, you got anything?
No, I don't, thanks.
Okay, then, in that case, we'll move along to our business manager's report. Mr. Mahoney,
How is everybody?
welcome. We're all good.
Good. In your packet, you did have the budget calendar / referendum, potential upcoming referendum activity. That is listed. However, sometimes people like a little bit of paper. Sometimes you prefer
Something I can
the
read,
eyes.
something I can read, yeah.
Tom, I would hand you one, but
Thank you.
I think I brought mine.
Okay.
It's all right.
And then, so, this evening, yep, it's been almost a couple weeks since we've last talked about budget. So, we're kicking it off again. In November, we spent some time developing model budgets for 1- and 5-year projections. The involved personnel is administration, which really includes me, and time with not only myself, but last Friday I spent the day down in CISA 2 with about 70 other school districts that represent the southeast part of the state, as they were also starting to collaborate on budget development and using projection models. We do use the projection models that Baird has developed, which is software that's very intuitive and very helpful, and will certainly help us as we develop not only next year, but those years after as we look at referendum. November to March, we spent a lot of time looking at enrollment, staffing, program discussions, and that's our A-Council. A couple weeks ago, last week, I did A-Council update for enrollment and had already talked with some of the principals already about staffing levels, particularly K-5 and where we're thinking things are going to be there. Tonight, 20th, 24-25 budget calendar review with the board. So that's this item. And also a short enrollment update. And then also, part of this is a referendum draft timeline review. And that's all kind of contained in one document. So my reports tonight of 8A and 8C are kind of combined. So plan is November 30th that I get invited to come to a retreat. I'm guessing it's a real treat. To come and
Right
talk
here.
about referendum review. In particular, I'll be coming with some data on maybe looking at what are some objectives that we might be having with that upcoming referendum and some overall plans that Aaron and I would have for moving that forward. Most notably, then, if needed, we'd come back December 4th to a regular scheduled board meeting to do a referendum review. And then potentially on December 18th, we would look to adopt and file a referendum resolution for an April 2nd, 2024 referendum. There's a lot of work to do between this time and even December 18th. There is always the potential that we could certainly, even at our January 8th meeting, adopt and file a referendum, adopt a resolution as well. We just have to do it, I think, by January 27th. I don't have that on here. 70 days prior to April 2nd, we have to file that resolution. So,
Jeff, is that pretty typical? I mean, we're following what you've done in the past? Pretty
well,
much?
yes.
Okay,
The last time we did a operational referendum, it was in conjunction with the 2016 facilities referendum.
okay.
Previous to that, we did 2004. So it's been a while between.
And that was just operational in 2004?
That was just operational,
Okay.
correct.
Yeah.
So, so that was a lot about the upcoming referendum kind of timeline. More notably after that, January 8th, 2024, we will be making our open enrollment annual board recommendations for your action item. And then, we continue, like a couple previous years, with lots of reports throughout the year. Really excited about April 2nd, if I haven't mentioned that. And, also having a action item tonight on recommendation for October 21st, 2024 for our annual meeting for the 24-25 calendar, school year, fiscal year. There's a lot in there. So that is our general calendar. Are there any questions on the general calendar for both our regular budget development and also our outline for referendum planning?
No big surprises.
We've been kind of talking about this for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a minute.
And, there's a lot of districts that are out there are really talking about it too. So we have a lot of neighbors that have been having meetings and have upcoming meetings to discuss.
I just have to make an editorial comment. Apparently, the group that was in that representative, who's the committee chairman that Tom was referring to, I guess they don't have any concerns. Because he said he took the pulse of those school districts. And I'm going like, were they dead? I mean, what? I mean, seriously, they're not unique. This whole state is in public school. Yeah, so that's my editorial comment, sorry. Sticking my
Jeff,
claw.
and Jeff, I have a question. Is the village anticipating any financial question to the community this spring?
No.
Okay, good.
That's good.
All right. Enrollment. Tom, I actually had a chance to email you the document I was going to hand out.
Okay.
So it's just our K-12 enrollment projections. Maybe I'll hand these down. This gets my steps in for the day. Thank you.
Thank you.
exciting this year, I put a little graphic.
I see.
Ooh.
That's new. That is
I'm
new.
really-
Fancy.
I'm really busting this out these days. Even in color. So, as you can see, our I should say 4K-12 enrollment projections. You can see at the top, we have 7 years of history by grade, and you can go all the way to the right-hand side and see that, you know, we peaked at about 2,525 children in seats. That's open enrollment and resident students. This year, we're sitting at 2,402. So we're down from our peak back in 1819. We've chatted at previous meetings, annual meetings, about where enrollment growth has been going. While we do have higher numbers at our 6th through 8th and our 9th through 12th buildings, we're seeing some minor declines at our early buildings, the K2, 4K, and a little bit at Wabisa. So as we look at our estimates, we are seeing a trend down over the next 6 years, as presented here, of which, when we do come to you January 8th, we will be likely, I know we'll be making recommendations for some open enrollment at our younger levels. In particular, our 4K and kindergarten would have probably about 22, 23 slots between the two of them opened up. And also 3rd grade, as that building open enrollment capacity levels are 176 versus 160. So that class that's at 2nd grade going in would allow for some additional open enrollment. So similar to what we did back, and yes, I'm going to hand you another piece of paper that kind of helps with this. There's even a portion of it so you can make notes. Tom, this is one I did not send to you.
Okay.
I have to get my readers out. This is a reading test. Test.
I might fail.
I didn't hand out readers with everything. This is a lot of data, but this is the history going back to 2012. And I think it's very helpful when I talk about our resident enrollment, our combined resident open enrollment, our resident and our open enrollment. So the top graph of those 11 years shows our resident and our open enrollment in. Those are our non-residents that come to us. And again, that 18-19 year was our highest, 2,500, and we're at 2,402 this year. Now, if you were just to look at resident only, which is the second table there, our resident enrollment has never reached higher than 2328, which was just 2 years ago.
Okay.
So that then, if you look at open enrollment in, which is the third table down, you can see that that's partly why we started to not have open enrollment space, is because we had higher residential enrollment between 2016, 2017 through last year, in particular 23, 28, being the high for the number of residents in our district. So that is the reason why we'd be coming forward at the January 8th with the ability to be able to have capacity, and we're also a district that does attract. Our highest, while not, it is showing here, 320 students was our highest open enrollment amount back in 13-14 and 14-15.
Yeah.
Are there questions about open enrollment or some of the resident data that I've presented?
Are you gonna, What causes the open enrollment out? Is that us?
So
Or is that a
that,
personal choice?
those are residents that do attend other districts. So in 2012, 2013, we did have 15, which is about an average of 1 student per grade. And 23, 24, this year, we have 61, which is about 4 on average per grade level are attending elsewhere. We have not done any surveying on this in a long time. We did do when open enrollment first started a long time ago. The district did some. A lot of it is due to people moving in, them continuing, their students wanting to continue with their previous resident school district. It's very much a choice thing. Dane County is pretty tight with lots of schools and availability for people to, go places. So I wouldn't be able to answer. I think the question is, it's not about us. I think it's a lot about personal choice for families and situations that they have. Great question. The bottom table, if you were to consider, what would our enrollment be if we didn't have open enrollment and all of our residents wanted to attend here? So you would add resident and open enrollment out. So our enrollment this year would be 2,349 if there was no open enrollment in or an open enrollment out program. That is a number that is, when we look up top, we would be about 150 on average, less than what we've been taking in as a net. So that's also our revenue cap number that we get to use. So that's very important.
So with open enrollment, people who open enroll into the district, if one child gets in, you take all children from that family, correct? Is that typically what happens?
Those are decisions that we make with each of the questions that the board gets to answer.
In the
And
past, though,
Yep.
is that what's happened?
when we've had opens, we have done that.
Okay, and then when I'm looking at this, the open enrollment in section, so from 2019 through now, it looks like really not many have come in. I'm assuming that's like siblings and things that have come in like 2021?
Right, and/or they were already attending residents
Okay,
that moved out. And since we count them in our projections, they're able to stay here under tuition waiver and then are here under open enrollment.
okay.
So there will be a few people that we know that if we're opening up our 4K and our kindergarten and some of our first for next year, there are some siblings that are in other grade levels that we know that there's going to be some applicants. We know people that have been asking us over the years. But they also have some siblings that have been denied because they've been in levels that have grades that have higher class sizes. But that would be in the situation where we would be having the board vote on that language of to accept already attending siblings or to have a sibling rule, that if your 4K child gets in, then if you have an 8th grade child, they get in. So those will be forthcoming for January 8th, those questions.
Which number again is the revenue cap based on?
The bottom one.
Yeah.
So the number of students that we have that are residents, plus those that are residents attending other districts outside of McFarland.
Jeff, if the board decides to open up slots for additional open enrollment, are there specific dates that the parents must meet to apply for that?
Yeah, DPI selects the time frame each year. It's typically 1st of February through end of April.
Okay,
We can get back to you on that. But it's a lengthy open, it's 3 months long.
okay, thanks.
So on that last aggregate that you have there, does that include then people like who homeschool and stuff as well?
No.
It doesn't?
Nope.
Okay.
These would be those that are attending another public school
Public
district
school.
and our school district.
Okay, I got it.
That's why I gave you the big piece of paper so you could make lots of notes.
Oh, no, that's wonderful. Yeah, thank you. This is awesome. Okay.
So I know it's a lot of information. Enrollment hasn't been really super challenging for us to predict in McFarland. We have great survival ratios,
Yeah.
that meaning kids that go from 2nd to 3rd grade usually has a pretty consistent average. The only time we've really had to factor in what's major changes is when we have really fast-growing subdivisions, or situations where we don't have housing stock. But we're able to take a look at that pretty fast. Because we're a very tight, small land area school district. We're 25 square miles, and that includes landfill, a couple marshes, a couple lakes, a river. I might have mentioned the landfill. So,
Just one so far, though.
I know. I've been spending a lot of time meeting about landfills, so. So that would conclude my report. If there's any questions, as always, reach out to me, ask me now, send me questions.
Do you have anything right away, Tom?
No, again, just a comment. Jeff, I think you do a terrific job at presenting, sharing the information with the board. So the board has an idea what you're talking about and what will be involved in our decision-making. So thanks for
Appreciate it.
sharing all this.
Yeah. And
Thank you.
especially,
I
I'm
would
glad,
certainly second that.
yeah, and I'm just so glad you're gonna be there on the 30th. Yeah,
I'm pretty excited too.
yeah. We need your input.
There we go. All right.
Thank you.
We will
Thank you.
move along then to action item. The first one being action on approval of annual meeting date. Administration recommends that the school board set an annual meeting date for October 21st, 2024. I would look for a motion to,
I'll make that motion.
Bruce,
Yes.
do I have a second?
I'll
I'll
second.
second. Go ahead.
Kate knows you out there. Okay, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Next is action on revised McFarland High School Spring Early College Credit and Start College Now program requests. I would look for a motion to approve those requests.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Kate. I have a second.
Yep, I can second that.
Megan, discussion?
So it's just revised because Madison College now has, like, revised their programming? Is that it?
It's because somebody took classes that they didn't realize.
No,
Got it, okay,
hadn't taken.
Yeah,
got it, okay.
interesting.
we didn't think they had taken the classes, but they had. So
Okay.
the proof was given, so we want to make sure that.
Oh, okay.
Yep, okay, that's
great.
what I wondered from the
Good
notes.
question, thank you.
All right,
Yep,
everybody clear?
We're all
Yeah.
set?
Any other questions, discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Next is action on second review and approval to rescind policy 5460.03, WEVA high school graduation requirements and second reading and adoption of policies. 5460.03, WEVA high school graduation requirements. 5460.04, Destinations Career Academy High School graduation requirements, and 5460.05, Insight School of Wisconsin High School graduation requirements. Do I have a motion?
So moved?
Thank you, Tom. Second?
I'll second that.
Bruce, discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. And next is action on recommended WEVA, Destinations Career Academy and Insight School of Wisconsin Statute 118.408G, student transfers to resident districts. At this time, WEVA Destinations Career Academy and Insight School of Wisconsin are requesting approval of recommended student transfers back to their residence districts due to lack of engagement. Do I have a motion?
Also move that.
Megan, second?
I'll second.
Kate, thank you. Discussion?
Just a couple observations. First of all, there's minimal K-5 students on that list this month. And secondly, Sarah did get back to Aaron and I about describing some of the interventions, additional resources, support they have provided to students so they can actually keep them enrolled in WEVA in the other schools.
Yeah, I know in the past, we've had a fair number of the real young kids that have ended up on this list. So I would imagine the fewer of them, the better.
That's a good
I
sign.
think so.
Yeah.
Yep.
Anything else? Okay, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. I would look for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that.
Bruce, thank you. Second?
I'll second.
Kate, thank you. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. We are adjourned at 8:02.
Yay!
Great job.
You were moving fast there, Craig.
I think it was early.
Trying to get 8. but-
So did you say